Chapter 280 Interview. Lord clearly understands that our clan does not lack silver. However, our face cannot be ruined in the slightest. His wife sitting across from him said a smile. She embodied the image of a perfect wife. When Qin Yan saw this, he was completely satisfied. This third madam had followed him for so many years, but her consideration for finer details hadn't decreased in the slightest, causing him to feel more reassured in them. Even ordinary matters of all sizes with regards to the Qin residence were handed over to her. Furthermore, her orders were always extremely satisfactory. "Lord, I have already sent people to fetch him. After Lord Husband sees him, I will handle this small matter," his wife continued, speaking with a gentle voice. When Qin Yan heard this, he faintly smiled, but when he thought to say something else, a servant made a report from outside the room. "Lord, Qin Ping has brought the guest. Do you want to call him in now? Tell Qin Ping to bring him in." Without deeply thinking, Qin Yan gave his command and simply closed his mouth. He then gave an apologetic smile to his third wife. "I will follow your orders." The servant agreed and spoke no further. Qin Ping entered the guest hall with a simple-minded youth following behind him. As this male youth walked in, he looking left to right in the guest receiving hall as if he were extremely curious about within it. When the two walked into the hall, Qin Ping made his report and automatically withdrew. The only one who remained was the youth restlessly facing Qin Yan and his wife. When Qin Yan and his third wife saw the youth's bewildered expression, she couldn't help but look at him with a knowing smile. Qin Yan lightly coughed and then amiably said to the youth, "I've heard this little brother has a letter for Senior Qin. Is this matter true? Could you hand that letter over to me so I could take a look?" The youth, Han Li, looked at the Qin clan master and revealed some hesitation. With a bit of uncertainty, he asked, "Are you really Uncle Qin? My grandfather said from his own mouth that this letter could only be given to Uncle Qin himself." When the third wife heard Han Li's words, she was slightly startled but soon smiled, almost unable to restrain her laughter. Inside the main guest receiving hall of the Qin residence, how could anyone dare to arrogantly pretend to be the Qin clan master? This youngster's question was truly amusing. When Qin Yan heard this, he blankly stared for a moment before revealing a wry smile. With no better option, he could only say, "This one is the genuine Qin clan master. However, whether or not I am your esteemed self's Uncle Qin, I must read the letter before I know." Qin Yan appeared to be beaten, much to the amusement of his third wife watching from the side. Within Yujing, nearly no one did not know of the renowned master of the Qin clan. But who would have thought this rustic younger would have actually have doubts? It truly made for a good story. Having heard Qin Yan's words, confidence bubbled forth on Han Li's face, and he brought out the crinkled letter, quickly creasing it before handing it over to Qin Yan. Qin Yan, who had long lost his patience, had difficulty resisting the urge to go over and snatch the letter but managed to maintain his poise until he received it. However, he didn't immediately open up the letter. Instead, he took a deep look at Han Li and suddenly put the letter on the table, lightly clapping his hands 2 times. Clap clap. An old man with a head full of white hair walked into the hall, wearing an azure jacket. Without saying anything further, Qin Yan pointed to the letter. The old man then immediately advanced towards the letter. He brought the letter under a bright light and carefully observed it. In the end, he returned the letter to the table. "There are no problems." After spitting out these words, the old man bowed and retreated. He hadn't made a single noise this entire time, as if he were a ghost. Feeling assured, Qin Yan faintly squinted at Han Li, and when he saw Han Li's baffled expression, he couldn't help but smile. Then without any further doubt, he skillfully opened the letter and took out the letter for a close look. When the third wife saw this, she gave Han Li friendly smiles. She then raised a teacup in front of her, wanting to take a sip. However, before the cup even touched her lips, she saw Qin Yan pant as he read the letter. He suddenly stood with a face filled with extreme and bizarre amazement. "Lord, What's the matter? Could it be the letter is fake? The third wife was shocked, hastily putting down her teacup and asked with great concern. No, this letter is genuine. Furthermore, it is a letter from my senior to whom I owe great favor. Qin Yan's expression returned to normal almost instantly, his tone of voice once again quite calm. Then he looked at his beloved wife as if there was nothing wrong and sized up Han Li. Your esteemed self is called Han Li? Lord Qin inquired. Although his tone was the same as before, the third wife somehow felt something was amiss. Just as this madam met with doubt, Han Li nodded with all his strength. That's right. I am Han Li. Is it as my grandpa has said? Can I stay here? Of course. When I was a child, I saw elder Li Hawaya Wen with my father. I did not think that today I would see his descendant. I will treat you as if you were my own nephew. Qin Yan suddenly gave a hearty laugh. His loud and clear voice caused the nearby servants to look at each other in dismay. They did not know why their clan master was so happy within the guest hall. Come. Accompany with me a nearby room and tell me how Elder Li Hawaya Wen is doing. As for the others, they are not allowed to follow. My dear nephew Han Li and I will have a proper chat. Qin Yan grabbed Han Li's arm and said this cordially. Then he dragged Han Li to the side door and blocked his third wife, who had also wanted to follow. This caused his third wife to feel greatly shocked and confused. She could only helplessly look on at Lord Qin and Han Li as they left through the side door. However, she didn't dare to disobey and secretly follow them. At this moment, she had a head full of doubt and suspicion. Han Li followed Qin Yan, and they arrived at an extremely quiet side hall. Without saying anything further, Qin Yan turned an ancient vase that was decorating the hall. Soon after, a concealed room suddenly appeared from the wall. When Qin Yan saw this, he entered without the slightest hesitation. After Han Li faintly smiled for a moment, he followed him in. Although the concealed room wasn't very large, it was fully furnished. Not only were there desks and chairs, but there was also a bookshelf about 3 meters high within the room. The room appeared extremely refined. Since your esteemed self came from Immortal Li's sect, then you should be a cultivator. Just now in the guest hall, I was extremely rude. I hope Immortal Han won't blame me. When Qin Yan sealed off the secret room, he apologized to Han Li with a respectful expression. It was nothing. I can't blame those who didn't know. Besides, this act will have to continue. After Han Li casually sat down in the chair next to him, he said this without much care. At this moment, his appearance completely changed and resumed his confident, easy bearing. Many thanks to Lord Immortal's magnanimity. When Qin Yan heard this, he grew even more respectful. He then stood at the side and didn't reveal the slightest dissatisfaction. After all, what did it mean to be an immortal cultivator? Qin Yan clearly understood this. They were living legends equivalent to gods. Even more, without the help of that Immortal Li, his Qin clan absolutely wouldn't have been as illustrious and prestigious as it was today. In heart and appearance, Qin Yan didn't dare to be disrespectful in the slightest. Why don't you sit, Qin clan master? There is no need to be overly polite. The Immortal Li you spoke of is actually my own master, so you can't be considered a stranger to the Li clan. Han Li answered with a smile. I do not dare. This one is but a mortal. How could I be disrespectful to an immortal? This one will stand to the side and listen to Immortal Han's commands. Qin Yan repeatedly waved his hand, refusing to sit down. This caused Han Li to thoughtfully mutter to himself for a moment, but he did not further press him. I do not know what brings Immortal Han to this place. Immortal Li's letter only mentioned your identity as an immortal. The letter didn't mention any specific matters. Could you please inform me about a thing or two? Qin Yan carefully asked the question he was most concerned with. His father had explained to him before he passed away that Immortal Li, who greatly favored the Qin clan, would only appear when there was danger, personally bringing his fellow sect members to provide assistance. But what danger had the Qin clan come across now? Han Li looked at him and saw that the Qin clan's master appeared worried. After another moment of thought, he said with deliberation, "The matter is as such. It involves the cultivators of foreign countries. We received information that..." With an ordinary expression, Han Li slowly narrated to Qin Yan how the sixth devil Dao sects would likely act against the Qin clan by using terms that a mortal would most likely understand. This greatly shocked the Qin clan master. After half a day, Qin Yan finally stuttered out, "This. The cultivators of other countries want to act against us mortals? This. How is this good?" This Qin clan master was at a total loss of what to do. Han Li faintly smiled and calmly comforted him, "There is no need for the Qin clan master to be worried. The cultivators infiltrating into the state of Yue have low magic power. Under my watch, they won't be able to easily act against your clan."